In this lesson, we will learn about single sign-on using primary refresh token on Entra-joined devices. First, we will review PRT issuance and storage in both Entra-ID and the client device. And after that, we will analyze the PRT contents and how the PRT is used for app access token requests and STS validations. Finally, we will conclude our lesson with the review questions. The process begins when the user signs into an Entra-ID joint device and completes MFA. Then STS in Entra-ID validates the user identity by querying the object's ID to check the account status. It makes sure the account is active. STS can also validate the device identity by querying the device ID to make sure the device is in compliance status and the device is an Entra-ID joint device. After a successful validation, STS generates the section key metadata, which includes device ID, user ID, section key ID or thumbprint, device public key, timestamp of section key issuance. The metadata is stored in Entra-ID and mapped to the section key for the future token validation. Next, STS generates a primary refresh token and issues it to the device. The device stores the PRT securely in TPM chip if available, or in an encrypted storage. The PRT is valid for 14 days and is renewed every 4 hours, provided that the device is connected and the user is active in Entra-ID. So what are inside the primary refresh token? As you know, the primary refresh token contains the user ID, the device ID, and the section key encrypted with the device public key, and the device can decrypt it using the device private key. The primary refresh token also contains the MFA claims and the conditional access claims. When user opens an app using modern authentication such as Outlook or Teams, the app calls Web Account Manager WAM or Microsoft Authentication Library to request an access token. WAM invokes the Microsoft Entra WAM plugin. The WAM plugin constructs an access token request including the following components. The first component is authority. The authority tells WAM where to send the token request by specifying the token issuing endpoint of Microsoft Entra-ID. It may include a tenant ID or domain for multi-tenant apps. The second component is the resource. The resource is to identify the target service the access token is intended for. This is the audience claim in the token, which the resource server uses to validate the token. The third component is validate authority. The validate authority ensures the authority URL is trusted and matches known Microsoft Entra-ID endpoints to prevent token requests from being sent to a misconfigured endpoint. This is the security feature to protect against phishing or misrouting. And the fourth component is correlation ID. The correlation ID is used to track the requests across systems for diagnostics and logging. It appears in logs in both client and server side. It helps troubleshoot token acquisition failures or latency issues. The one plugin then sends the request to STS in Entra-ID. Upon receiving the app access token request, STS in Entra-ID extracts device ID and user ID from the request context and validates the device is Entra-ID join compliant and not disabled. The user exists, is active, and authorized to access the app. After a successful validation, STS generates a nonce and sends it to the device. The device signs the nonce using the section key from the primary refresh token and returns the sign-ons to STS. After receiving the nonce from the device, STS locates the section key metadata using the device ID and user ID. STS decrypts the sign-ons with the section key to validate if the nonce matches the expected value and hasn't been reused. If the nonce is valid, Entra-ID confirms the device holds a valid primary refresh token and the section key is active and trusted. The section key metadata also allows STS to validate if MFA was performed, if the device was compliant, if the user met conditional access requirements. Finally, STS re-evaluates each applied conditional access policies. If the policy targets the user or device and the section metadata certifies this, then no MFA prompt for the user. If the policy targets the specific app or requires additional controls, for example, terms of use, location restrictions, then an MFA prompt is triggered. Let's conclude our lesson with the review questions.